The all-powerful shape-shifting alien symbiote Venom and Eddie Brock, an investigative journalist and entity's human host, live in uncomfortable cohabitation. Following Venom's life-altering occurrences, Eddie Brock stagnates in his job. Eddie now gets a rare interview with the Cletus Kasady, a vicious, sadistic serial killer who was left to rot in San Quentin State Prison in an attempt to find atonement and make himself famous. However, as the squabbling continues, Venom becomes increasingly bored of relying on a tight plant diet and is committed to continuing her life with Dan. An unexpected complication between Kasady and Venom creates a new nightmare and a ferocious, unstoppable arch enemy named Carnage. Is this world ready to welcome Carnage, a red hued beast born out of Venom, whose mind rages with chaos, rage, and madness? Will Eddie and Venom find a way to stop Carnage? Venom There Be Carnage is a thrilling adventure that explores the blood lines between heroism and villainy. Let's get into the movie recap. Welcome to Movie Spotlight. In 1996, a young Cletus Kasady looks on helplessly as Francis Barrison, his love, is transported to the Ravencroft Institute from St. Estes Home for Unwanted Children. The authorities decide to move Frances to an institution for the criminally insane because of her increasing powers and the progression of her mutations. While traveling, Barrison assaults young police officer Patrick Mulligan with her sonic scream abilities. Barrison's cry causes Mulligan to shoot her in the eye and injure his ear. Mulligan, who thinks he murdered her, is unaware that Barrison is still brought to Ravencroft where her powers are limited. Since the serial killer Kasady won't speak to anyone, still Eddie Brock, an investigative journalist who hosts the alien symbiote Venom, which gives him supernatural abilities, and Mulligan, now a detective, asks Brock to speak with Kasady in San Quentin State Prison. Mulligan believes that since Kasady is on death row, he could want to disclose where the bodies of his victims are that have gone missing. Venom dismisses Brock and claims to miss Anne, Brock's ex-girlfriend. Brock receives a quote from Kasady that includes Brock, and Mulligan is unaware that Kasady was using the words, "The distant cathedral is all I see. Fractured angel, the other part of me," to be published in newspapers to deliver a message to Barrison, incarcerated in Ravencroft. Following the visit, Brock's alien symbiote Venom determines where Kasady has concealed the bodies of his victims by examining the sketches he made on the walls and within his cell. It was on California's Rodeo Beach. This greatly advances Brock's career. Venom is angry with Eddie since he needs brains to survive and is only supposed to consume chocolate. Foul brains are too little and he refuses to consume them. Eddie restrains his innate impulses by refusing to let Venom kill anyone, including criminals. Phenylethylamine, which is only present in chocolate or brains, is what Venom feeds on. Together, Brock was pushed to Mrs. Chen's shop to buy chocolates, but unfortunately, the chocolates did not arrive. Leaving no option, Venom was compelled to feed on Fowl again. Then, much to Venom's charging, Brock receives a call from his ex-fiancée, Anne Weighing, a defense lawyer, who invites him to meet him. Anne informs him she is now engaged to Dr. Dan Lewis. Venom greatly lifts Brock's spirits. Brock is invited to see Kasady's execution after he was found guilty to his crimes and was given a lethal injection sentence. Kasady explains to Brock how he caused the deaths of his grandmother and mother. Kasady acknowledges that he pushed his grandma down the stairs in her wheelchair and tossed a hairdryer in his mother's bathtub. His father thrashed him and put him at St. Estes before Frances saved him and they fell in love. Kasady was also beaten there. Brock decides to meet Kasady once more. Kasady speaks to Brock again and the latter insults him by calling Brock a disease to everyone he has ever loved, even Anne. Venom attacks Kasady immediately. After biting Brock's hand, Kasady consumes a tiny portion of the symbiote. Venom and Brock argue about wanting more freedom to devour criminals when they return to their house. By seeing the artwork in the Kasady's cell, Venom asserts that he is the one who turned Brock into a hero. Brock contends that Venom is worthless and he provides Venom a refuge after he is expelled from his world. When Venom removes Brock's $2,000 HD flat screen TV from his flat, it leads to a nasty altercation. The symbiote makes the independent decision to depart from Brock's body. Venom also reowns Brock's valuable motorbike before departing. A crimson symbiote appears and stops the injection as Casady's execution gets underway. It goes on a bloody rampage through the prison, killing guards and releasing prisoners under the name Carnage. Mulligan visits Brock at his house and informs him of the circumstances. Since Casady only went on rampage after Brock's visit to Casady, Mulligan questions him about it, but Brock won't give him any information. Carnage claims that since only Venom can kill him, removing Venom will render him unkillable. In return for Casady's assistance in getting rid of Brock and Venom, Carnage consents to assist Casady in removing Barrison from Ravencroft. Now that he is at the Halloween party, Venom gets quite inebriated out of wrath, grief, and depression. Without Venom, Eddie attempts to learn Casady's plan. Using Casady's previous records of marriage, connubial beds, and carved images as hints, Eddie goes to St. Estes and discovers a tree carved to represent CK's love for FB. Eddie lets Mulligan know FB should be Franz Barrison. Mulligan replies right away, and he still thinks she's dead because he shot her. In the meantime, Barrison is still alive and being held at Ravencroft, as discovered by Casady and Carnage via internet hacking. After Barrison is set free by Casady at Ravencroft, they go to the St. Estes children's home and set it on fire. Mulligan visits Ravencroft and discovers that Barrison is the one who has escaped from custody and is still alive. Venom visits Mrs. Chen's shop in a random horse body, depriving her of chocolate. After becoming suspicious of Brock, Mulligan takes him into custody. According to Mulligan, a monster has been spotted recently at every place Brock has visited. Brock requests Mulligan to make a phone call. Brock informs Anne, his attorney, that Venom has broken up with him and asks her to find Venom. Venom hops from body to body through San Francisco, and Anne finds him attached to Mrs. Chen and persuades him to forgive Brock. After Anne brings Venom to Brock in her body, they escape custody. Venom insists that Brock apologizes to him, and when Brock does it as expected, it gets back to Brock. Mulligan searches for Casady and confronts him, but upside down. He gets caught himself, Casady. On the other hand, Barrison couldn't find Brock. Instead, she found Anne, his ex-girlfriend. Barrison traces Anne's house and kidnaps her, leaving a message through Dr. Dan to Brock. Carnage wants Venom, Barrison wants Mulligan, and Casady wants to murder Brock. The decisive encounter has finally been set up. After Barrison kidnaps Anne and Casady kidnaps Mulligan, they are taken to a cathedral where Casady and Barrison want to get married. Brock and Venom show up there to battle Carnage. Initially, Venom hesitates to fight the Red One, the Carnage, although Carnage finds Frances annoying since her screams harm him too. Casady objects to Carnage reprimanding Frances in any form. Carnage overpowers Venom, who is on the verge of surrendering when Brock helps him realize that Casady and Carnage are not symbiotic. When they witness Carnage attempting to harm Frances and Casady trying to distance herself from him, they incite Barrison to use her abilities to keep Carnage and Casady apart. The crumbling cathedral bell crushes Barrison while Carnage is consumed by Venom, killing Casady. Later, the eyes of alive Mulligan flash blue as if a piece of Carnage has infected him. Now that they are on the run, Brock and Venom decide to take a vacation. While considering their options, they watch J. Jonah Jameson, and suddenly Spider-Man's identity discloses as Peter Parker on television. At the same time, Venom tells Brock about symbiote's knowledge of other realities, where a blinding light takes them from their hotel room to another room.